men from old St. Thomas, we got the strength to never yield. We'll fight and fight for our Tom Eagle as we march on down the field. Our motto is to win with glory, 'cause that's the way we're taught to play. Do or die for old St. Thomas, fighting eagles all the way. Hey!
When the Alston-Hadley campus was completed in 1904, athletics immediately became part of the fabric of St. Thomas. One of the first things that happened after the campus opened was a football game.
The Basilian Fathers valued athletics from the very beginning. When they came to North America and created their first school here, St. Michael's in Toronto, athletics was a big piece of what they were offering to the community, and they found very, very early on that athletics has another way to educate and form young men.
It wasn't just football that was part of the school's history. The first St. Thomas College baseball team took to the field in the school's first decade, but it was mostly an intramural affair. Occasionally, there might be a scrimmage against the Basilian seminarians down in LaPorte. As the school entered its second decade, however, it was clear that athletics was here to stay.
What they learned kind of through coaching and learning how to be coached is a lot of life skills that'll really translate to the next level of their life, whether they get into industry, whether they become a doctor, lawyer, professional athlete, whatever that might be, or a priest. They're going to have to work in community. They're going to have to learn how to pick each other up. They're going to have to learn how to be leaders. And I think the most important thing that they learn from being in athletics is servant leadership, learning how to serve your teammates, learning how to serve others.
The school would need the closeness and camaraderie that teams created and the strength of heart on which St. Thomas was built, because the second decade of the 20th century would bring with it a churning cauldron of change.
Just passed through fearful storm. Sat up all night expecting roof to go. 11 large windows, 2 chimneys, and most of slates on east side are gone. Estimated damage between $1,500 and $2,000. I have no money but $150. Reverend John C. Plomer, CSB, Treasurer and Director of Studies to Father Roche, August 15, 1915.
Once again, a storm brought damage to St. Thomas. Once again, it would find itself needing to make costly repairs, which would take much of the next year to complete. That wasn't all. In 1915, the same year as the storm, 88 students were enrolled. 3 years later, that number would decrease to 81, and St. Thomas faced strong headwinds trying to remain financially solvent. If a possible economic storm was coming to campus, an even greater storm raged abroad. The Great War in Europe had dragged on, and its grip would find the young men of St. Thomas. Nearly 130 former students had enlisted in the war effort. Many of them became officers. All fought to bring Germany and its allies to heel, carrying with them into battle the lessons of faith they'd learned in Houston. The long fight would come to an end in November of 1918. St. Thomas mourned the loss of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for God and country, and welcomed its returning heroes. Even as it celebrated the graduates who served their country, the school still had an obligation to serve the young men of Houston. By 1919, the school had eliminated the 5th grade, had named its first Texan to lead it, and now saw its largest enrollment ever. The world was again at peace. On the gridiron, rivalries went on, and St. Thomas looked to yet another decade.